Going to go to Mike in Cheshire. Mike, are you there?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Johnson.
Good morning,
Nick.
Good morning.
Hello.
As you know, HS2 is now a very controversial issue. But also controversial, Boris, is the choice of Euston as the terminus. Because,
come on. Okay, this is interesting.
Yes, because it will mean the destruction of over 400 homes and years of disruption whilst new platforms are added.
Yeah.
And, of course, there will be environmental damage in Camden. So there is a lot against Euston.
Which is why Labour has been sort of, flobbing around about this, because they're very strong, as you know, in that area, and you've got some real Labour argy-bargy going on about that.
Well, would you consider, for example, an alternative?
Yeah.
Because we will need to increase capacity on our railways over the coming years.
You're right.
London stations are now at capacity, so London will need a new station.
What is your alternative?
Mike? I think Mike is on to something very important.
Right.
And what's your
right?
Let me give you. Go on, Mike. Give your alternative, then I'll give mine.
Okay. The alternative is to take the new railway to the £1 billion Crossrail station and Tottenham Court Road. Now, Boris, this is 4 stories below ground.
Yeah.
It won't upset anybody, businesses or people living round and about. It's in the heart of London. Crossrail, as you know, will offer frequent 28-minute services to Heathrow, as well as to Paddington, Liverpool Street, etc. This seems to me to be the least damaging option and a very efficient way of handling people.
Well, Mike, I mean that is a very interesting idea, and of course, what the another merit of your idea, if I may just suggest one extra point you might want to add, is that in coming into Tottenham Court Road, you would also be arriving at the junction between Crossrail 1 and Crossrail 2. So you'd turn that into an enormous transport hub, and that'd be a very interesting approach. I think that the difficulty with that is just going to be the sheer weight of numbers arriving in that area, the difficulty of making Tottenham Court Road cope with that, and secondly, the extra pressure you'd be putting on Crossrail, because Crossrail, we think, will be full as soon as it opens in 2018. And the argument that we're making to David Higgins, Sir David, who's just taken over now at a Network Rail, is you can't just arrive at Old Oak Common and stop. You've got to have some very clever plan for Euston, and you certainly. I think the point you're making, Mike, about the damage and the aggravation, the long disturbances that will happen in Euston is very valid. I think there is a case. I mean, this is something that is obviously a very expensive option. But in an ideal world, what you would do is you'd come into Old Oak Common, and then you would bomb out along the basically east-west along the Marylebone Euston Road. You'd have an underground connection at Euston, and then you'd go straight out to Stratford. And so you'd have an HS1. So you would fulfil the promise to the north of the country,
right?
That you were actually.
How much would that cost?
That would be. I mean, there's no question that would be probably prohibitively expensive. But that would at least sort out the problem. And you'd be fulfilling the promise to the north of the country that they could get on a train in Manchester and basically go all the way to France. I mean, which was how it was originally sold. The reality is there's no real market, I'm afraid, for that. And probably, as you rightly indicate, Nick, there's that solution that I've indicated, which Doug Oakerby used to canvass when he was chairman of HS2, is probably just going to fail on the cost ground. But you do need something to sort out Euston, and that is where Mike is completely right. And that's what we're working on right now. With,
Mike, thank you. We must get some more
with
callers
Sir David and HS2.